Hello and welcome to Cognitions, Speaking the Unspeakable with JP.
And Stacy D.
I am JP Craddock, and that is the one and only Stacy D Love. And we are broadcasting remotely here on KUAW Radio. That is knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Yes. Coming up on the show today, we have our question of the day, which is, I think I've met my soulmate. The problem is, I'm already married to someone else. Do I stay or do I go? So that's our question of the day. We usually arrive on the question of the day
that's
around
really a good old question. JP, that's really a good question today. But like my grandparents told me, a bird in the hand will be two in the bush every day.
This is a juicy question. This is juice.
Juice.
Look, Mr. Walker back there like, what?
You met your soulmate. I mean, like, what y'all been doing for you to think this is your soulmate?
This is going to...
that just sounds retarded. Oh, am I going to go and say Listen, so here I am at the... So were they in the line at the Walmart and they did up a conversation and she was like, ooh, I want him. This is my soulmate. I'm leaving my husband.
Listen, this question is so juicy. Stacy D, we can't get into it right now. We got other business to handle.
I'm sorry. I couldn't have my friend until you was like, should I leave or should I stay? What the hell?
Listen, I cannot wait to discuss this question. So,
please, party people, because I know Mr. Walker done left the stage.
Mr. Walker can't handle it.
Stage right. Oh, what did they say? Stage left. He done left.
Mr. Walker's like, ooh, I'm out. Okay. So
and
we will.
Everybody know JP comes up with these questions. This has nothing to do with Stacy D at all. I'm just here for the ride and the ad stuff. But he comes up, okay, y'all, I know somebody gonna say something about me chewing my gum, but I don't learn how to pop gum, and it's like really funny. You know how you always want to pop gum when you was in high school. Now I can pop my gum.
Well, technically, this is radio, and although they can see us on Facebook and on YouTube, they can't see us on all the other domains. So the only people who will be complaining is the 1,500 people who watch the show on Facebook.
I'm not saying 1,500. I'm talking about 1 million.
Oh,
put it into existence.
Speaking. Okay. The question of the day, and after 22 years of therapy, I have seen and heard it all, and these questions come from therapy. This is a juicy question. We're going to land on the question of the day around the 2:30 mark, usually around the half-hour mark, right after mental health and illness in the news. But before all that, we got to do our check-ins. We got to check in with the D. Stacy D, we wasn't here last week. We had to cancel the show. Mr. Walker ran a rerun. Mr. Walker, you ran a rerun, right? Okay. And so, D, how you doing, D?
Well, we had a death in the family. And, it was very traumatic. Everybody knows Sire. Everybody, I put Sire on here all the time. Everybody just bought Sire a Louis Vuitton that thing.
Sire has been on the show.
Yes, Sire always on the show. We talk about Sire and everything. Well, somebody in my neighborhood, they poisoned Sire. And somebody could be like, well, Stacey, it was really your fault because you just let Sire do whatever you want to. Well, Sire's 10 years old. He's been in the neighborhood. I've been here for 17. Sire been here for 10. And he runs the neighborhood. I mean, he's 6 pounds and he is who he is. And someone basically gave him rat poison.
Rat poisoning?
Yeah. Yeah, they gave my baby
Stacy
rat
D.
poison, and he's only 6 pounds, so it really did affect him like a rat. He was in ICU for 3 days. Can y'all believe my baby was in ICU for 3 days? I mean, when I tell y'all what I happened, you be like, is he a person? He had 3 blood transfusions, and literally, last Wednesday, basically his lungs filled with fluid, and he went on to the big doggy heaven. And I'm getting him cremated. I know, over the top with it, but it was very traumatic, for someone to.
You could get him stuffed.
No, that's too much. That's a little.
Look at Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker, like, what? What is wrong with JB?
So I'm really
they do that.
Yeah, so I'm really gonna convince everybody about, do I want another dog, or should I just? I mean, Cyrus was my dog. He used to ride and do with me with bonds and home visits, and hell, he was even in the house and in home family therapy business with the kids, playing with them, and 10 years. It would have been 11 next month. So anyway, I am gonna get a dog. I am gonna get another Maltese. That's I made up my mind. I was on the fence, but no, I'm gonna get me another baby. That's my baby, and I'm gonna let everybody help me name. And I'm gonna get a girl this time. So, because I don't want to be too much like, oh, Sarah wasn't like that. So I'm gonna get a whole nother opposite sex. So I'm gonna get a girl. So I got some good names, you guys. Okay, so I was thinking about Sugar, Sire and Sugar. But then my cousin, she named her dog Sugar. So I don't want her thinking that I'm trying to be like her or nothing. So I was thinking about Your Highness, Majesty.
Ooh, Majesty.
And the reason why is because the Maltese, they were the dogs in Europe that was the dogs for the kings and the queens. They were like the first lap dogs. So
why
they
not Queen?
Royalty. No,
why not Queen?
Oh, I could do Queen, couldn't I? Queen. But this dog here ain't gonna never go outside.
I thought you were gonna say, I was thinking, how people are spraying their yards to get rid of chiggers and outdoor critters and creatures. Mm-hmm. I thought you were gonna say that Sire had maybe gotten a hold of something like that. But rat poisoning, that sounds deliberate.
It was.
Unless
they mixed it with hamburger meat.
Oh, this was fully deliberate. Unless they had rats and they were trying to kill them.
No, I don't think so. Because they called a dog pound on me all the time. And the people come back and be like, Miss Heath.
Oh, you know who these...
Yeah, they tell me who calls. People love me. I mean, you either like me or you're gonna respect me. Point blank, period. And where I'm at with that was that, it was terrible.
So which neighbor it was. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. What was their complaint? That Sire craps in their yard? Like, what was their...
3 little bitty pellets.
Because that was a tiny dog. We talking tiny crap.
He was only 6 pounds. And he only can eat like a half a cup of food at one sitting.
That's crap, this like rabbit crap. Like, they're just mean.
They're just mean. They're racist. So if anybody know me, they know how I was about my kids. I fight kids about my kids. But with age, you get understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, right?
That's right.
So I'm gonna let God fight my battle. I'm gonna let God fight my battle. I'm gonna be okay.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. Sire was the cutest and a sweet dog. You brought Sire to my sister's barbecue. Sire was chill.
Sire was rolling.
That is so mean. Even if you don't want a dog on your property to
No,
go
they
to
have
that
dogs.
extent.
They have dogs. They have dogs.
Well, they didn't want Sire on their property.
Because Sire has a Black owner. Sire's mom is Black, and they're just racist. And it's really bad. And that's why we have to continue to pray for those ignorant people out here. We just really have to pray for them. And pray for me, because I'm 2.2 seconds for going down there and
handling business
on their door and let them know. And I really want to go into our Facebook page, but I'm not going to do anything. I have to get my mind right so I can come right, because I don't want them taking me off my square. And so that's what I'm doing.
Well, you know what? That's between them and God. Because when you go so far as to intentionally kill a dog, which, by the way, because this is Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable, that is a symptom of sociopathy. Like, you got a little bit of sociopath in you when you are killing animals intentionally. That's always a red flag, even like when kids, and they start killing animals and dissecting them and doing all, what they do. Parents need to be alarmed and alert, because your kid is killing pets. We have a crisis situation. And so for adults to do that, to be able to do that, they got a little bit of damn sociopath in them. So, okay. Well, I'm glad that you holding up okay. And the naming of the new dog, that's going to be a fun process. And you getting the same kind of dog.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll probably end up going to and see, and everybody, like my kids and King is like, oh, I'm gonna get you a dog. No. I have to see the dog. I have to have the dog around me, because I'm gonna put something in my life that's gonna be around for me for at least 15 to 18 years. So I'm going dog shopping. I'm going to Topeka in like 2 weeks. They should have one ready for me in 2 weeks. And then I talked to a breeder, because I really want to have a baby born in October. So if she gets born in October, then I can go get her like in January. So I'm flying down to Florida the end of October, because they have a litter coming in October. So I want to pick my baby. I picked Sire. It took me I went to go see Sire like 4 times before I picked him. He was the run. He was the run of the litter. Mm-hmm.
He was tiny and cute, though. Mm-hmm. Tiny and cute. On our Facebook page, you need to post a picture of Sire. Rest in peace, Sire, because those listening to the show or watching for Facebook and YouTube.
I got a real good picture, because I used to dress him up all the time. I got one in his Adidas outfit. So I'm going to put on with his Adidas outfit.
Put a picture on there, because they don't know how cute Sire was. Like, when you all see how cute Sire, for those who have not seen Sire, this was a cute
Sire be on the show a lot.
Well, yes, but our numbers have increased since the last time Sire was on the show. So it's like 5 times more people watching the show now. And so do a little tribute to Sire on the Facebook page. Okay, well, my check-in today is I have noticed more and more full-grown people. Full-grown people, couples having conflicts over text messages and email messages, the tone of the messages. And so what I have been explaining to people is, because they're fighting, and I know how you meant that when you wrote that, and and that ain't how I meant it. And for couples who use email, because that means it's a long message, too long for text, do not assume that these written formats are going to correctly convey the tone that you intend. In modern society, people are not having conversations like they really should be having, because ideally, if you are sending long emails to your spouse, there's a little bit of a communication issue.
And it's not the grocery list. It's not the grocery list.
It's not the grocery list. It's serious matters being addressed through text and email. Full arguments and discussions, mainly arguments, are taking place. And so what I have been telling people is, if you need to do an email or a long text in order to get all your thoughts out without your spouse interrupting you, that's fine. But if you want to be sure that the tone is conveyed correctly, don't send it. Wait till they get home and read the dadgum thing. Honey, I had some thoughts on my mind. I got some things that I want to say. I really do not want you to interrupt me. I'm going to read this letter that I wrote to you. See, that sounds so much better than sending it and then y'all cuss each other out.
It's setting that tone right then.
Yes. What I also want for people to be careful of is acting like you a dadgum teenager. Okay, quit acting like teenagers. Like, because teenagers will sit on the couch next to each other and text each other because they like, I like you, you like me, I like you. What? Okay. Grown people, come on, fools. Have a conversation, especially if you have taken the time to court, marry, and make babies with somebody. Y'all can't be one upstairs, one downstairs, and y'all having a full-blown argument through text and email because you are afraid to have a conversation with each other. Okay, I'm a fan of modern technology and the advancements that have come across, but it is making us as humans more disconnected. So I will
agree with that.
People, pull it together. Have a damn conversation. All right, mental health and illness in the news. Okay, here's a lighter story. Old Navy is, I don't know if I talked about this before. Old Navy has ditched their plus size section of the store. What? And it doesn't mean they're not selling plus size clothes. They are getting rid of their plus size section and mixing the clothes together. And they are no longer going to charge more money for plus size clothes because, and this is true, people do not like having to go shop in the plus size section of the store. People looking at you like, where you going? Well, you know where I'm going. Where? I got to go to the plus size section. Oh, okay. People don't want to be seen going to the plus size section of the store. So they're like, look, we're going to stop this shaming of full-figured people. Mix all these clothes together so that
nobody's shaming. Okay, I get it.
Yes, plus size people shopping right next to somebody skinny. Like, you see this? Yeah. How much is that? Right together. Quit separating us as a people. Okay. Now.
Hold on. JP, what the hell are you talking about? Separating us as a people. Okay, everybody. Okay, let me let you know. JP's soaking wet. It might be 150. And he's been like that his whole entire life. Since he done got older, he might have seen 175. This is the guy that goes to the gym 2 times a day. That when 24-hour fitness was up, was really 24-hour fitness before Genesis. We need our money, Genesis. He can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and work out for 3 hours. Or how about this? We will leave the club at 3. And everybody else trying to go home, and he's going to 24-hour fitness. So,
with gin in my system, I'm going off like it's about me.
Included in the plus size world, okay?
I'm included.
I myself, who is thin. But y'all need to see, because y'all know I'm going to Tulum in a couple of weeks, and I'm telling you, it's working out.
Thicky thin.
I just want to let everybody know. It's not about the workout. It's about what you put in here. I'm just saying.
Well, for those of us who really struggle, I have to do both. But I'm relating to this story. This is about me too, because I don't know how, but I feel this story. Look, Plus size folks need to be with everybody else. Now I'm pissed on behalf.
Okay. Okay.
I'm empathizing. Okay. So
because if
here's
you got some stretch, I'm getting in
it. You know, I don't think they really do separate sections for men. They have the big and they do the big and tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did.
And they do not have that much stuff in the big and tall neither.
The ugliest crap you ever seen. And when you go to the big and tall section, because sometimes I would go over there to get a real long, tall shirt, okay? But the sleeves would be way down here, so I couldn't buy it. But I'm like, why are these the ugliest clothes? So, like,
unless you go really on high end, because everybody know that King is 6'5". So unless you go high end, it looks a mess. It looks a mess.
It's like awful clothes. All right. Parents are still fighting over their kids wearing masks in Florida. In Florida, where they are using portable morgues, they have brought out the refrigerator trucks, and these fools are literally shoving and punching each other because they don't want their kids to wear masks. And so I have come up with a solution to this. Unfortunately, we're not famous and nobody's going to hear my solution.
Oh, yes, they will. We don't speak in that type of stuff. They'll see it in 6 months or something. Hell, no.
Okay, in 6 months. I think that we need to have separate schools for the kids who have parents that do not believe in wearing masks, do not believe in vaccinations. Send those kids to their own school so that the kids who are willing to wear a mask and don't want to have COVID, because in 1 week, Florida had 13,000 kids diagnosed with COVID, but these fools want to punch each other in the face over damn mask. All right.
No, because that Delta strain, it do not discriminate. It actually loves the kids for some reason.
Loves the kids.
Loves the kids. If you love your child, get your child vaccinated. Point blank, period. It's not about you. It's about you keeping your child.
But I think people love fighting and having something to fight over more than they love their kids. And so because the pandemic is not going to go anywhere, because too many people in our society are not willing to do what needs to be done in order to get this mass immunity, whatever. All right. And so they need to go to a separate school, which will also be good for teachers, because teachers should have a choice if they're going to work in a school where nobody's wearing masks and they breathing COVID all over each other, or they're going to work in a school. Now, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get higher level teachers working in the schools where they don't have to worry about dying from COVID while they're teaching. And then the schools with no mask are going to be having those fools who barely graduated, like at barely the bottom of the teachers who at the bottom of their class, like they just skated through with straight D's, D minuses. Then these idiots might be willing to have their kids wear masks so that they can get the quality of education in the schools where they are wearing masks. I know I joke and play around a lot. I'm dead serious. Send these people to their own school.
Yeah. You know what, JP? I agree with you about that.
This is COVID segregation.
COVID. Okay.
COVID segregation.
But JP, you have noticed that some jobs are like not letting you have a job if you do not have your COVID card.
And some professional, and you notice on the news, I think some professional athletes are not going to be able to play in certain places on the road because they refuse to wear masks.
Well, I'm not going to call it a vaccination. I'm going to call it a shot, because vaccination means you can't get it. You can still get it, but it will lessen the effect on you. So we're going to call it a shot.
Right. Okay, last piece of mental health and illness in the news. Hurricane Ida has left New Orleans with yes, with flood waters, no electricity, extreme heat. People don't have electricity, and although there's likely a higher level of resiliency amongst people in New Orleans and just in that whole area because they've gone through this before, this is still likely causing some anxiety and distress. It's so bad. A cow was stuck in a tree. That's how bad the flood waters were. And you know what? A picture of the cow in the tree. I wish I had a picture. That cow.
Let me tell you, because we could have got it.
What? A cow in the tree.
A cow stuck in a tree in New Orleans, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, Mr. Walker's like, what? The flood waters receded and that cow was stuck in the tree and they was trying to figure out how to get this cow out of the tree. And let me tell you something, because they have had a lot of stories about displaced animals and pets. And let me tell you, people think pets experience trauma too. And don't think that a cow stuck in a tree.
She might not be able to get no more. She might not be able to get, she's going to be angry milk.
Let me tell you.
That's angry milk.
Milk is not going to be coming out of that cow's udders for like a while. Because when you a cow, cows know they don't belong up in no tree. And let me explain something about this. Here's the thing. This is about the people and the pets, because people do not realize pets can experience trauma. Either entry level, which is adjustment disorder with anxiety. Mid-level would be acute stress disorder, which is 3 to 30 days of basically PTSD, the same symptoms as PTSD, except it's called acute stress disorder for the first 30 days. And then 30 days beyond is PTSD. And even though pets are not able to express that they're having anxiety or that they have experienced trauma, but think about when dogs experience something really, really scary and afterwards they're shaky, and if there's a loud noise, they run and they scurry. Or if you've ever seen a dog who has been severely beaten, how afraid they are and withdrawn and they hide, that's a dog with PTSD. So a cow who's been swimming in flood waters, the waters recede, he's stuck in a tree. We're talking some level of trauma for the cow. As far as the people are concerned,
I wonder how would his brisket be on him? Will it be tough? You know, I love brisket. At a good T-bone or sirloin steak. I mean, is his meat on him?
You clearly love brisket.
You know, because my grandparents used to buy like a half a cow in the wintertime, you know.
My mama used to buy half cows.
Yeah.
So much cow in our refrigerator.
So what about if we had this mean cow? I mean, how's the meat? Is the meat gonna be tough and you just gotta keep cooking it?
You know, it is possible that the trauma. What'd you say, Mr. Walker? Mr. Walker, okay, to all of our listeners, Mr. Walker pulled up, they had to use a chainsaw to cut this cow at this tree. Okay. And that probably
hard, but he's gonna go bloop, 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 bloop. I mean, go bloop, 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 bloop. Or
well, it's a cow. It was when I saw it was two people trying to cut a cow. Two people can't catch a falling cow.
Yeah, but they have something underneath to hold him, so he just don't go bloop, 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 bloop. He might break a leg.
No, he was gonna land on the ground.
How?
It was a little bit of flood waters left to catch him a little bit, but like
so cows land on their feet. Or is that what you're saying? Cows land on their feet? Mr. Walker, research that. Do cows land on their feet?
Be crazy.
Right.
That cow was mooing in distress. You ain't never heard mooing like that before.
I hope so. I wonder, was this a cow to get that one expensive milk? Shay, what's that expensive milk y'all been drinking?
Chateau.
Different flavor. Yeah.
Chateau.
I wonder, was that a Chateau cow?
They ain't gonna be milking that cow for a while.
Oh, not for a while.
I have to, this is gonna sound crazy. I love cows. Cows are one of my favorite animals for some reason.
Why?
Yes, it's something about cows make me want to run out and hug them. Cows are sweet, they gentle, they're quiet, they don't bother nobody. A cow is like, look, don't bother me, I ain't gonna bother you.
Leave me alone.
Cows are peaceful creatures. So when I walk by the TV and Robin Meade showed a cow up in the tree and they're trying to, I immediately was like, oh no, oh, the cow. I was already feeling bad about them being ravaged with the effects of the hurricane and the flood waters, and it's awful, but people who have experienced this multiple times are going to be slightly more resilient. Pets and animals, they don't know how to process this. And all these displaced pets and the kids are traumatized because they know that they will likely never see their dog again. They will never see their cat again. And I mean, and look at you, Stacy D, how toe up you been.
And I was a grown woman.
You've been, if you work for somebody, you'd be on FMLA right now because of Sire died.
I would have had you sign the papers.
I'd have filled out the papers like she needs time off.
Because I wasn't taking no phone calls or nothing.
Let me tell you, you was barely texting. You text me back 2 words. I said, oh, the D ain't right. And so when you think about it, kids who have not experienced a lot of loss, they cannot handle their dog being swept away in a hurricane and flood waters.
Actually, if they seen it, they just don't know, honey, because I would have had Sire on one of them papoose. You know how you had them baby things? You had a baby right here? Sire would have been on that, and we would have been.
You swimming and Sire swimming. Sire was so little. Sire's little legs are like 2 fingers trying to swim.
Wait a minute. I would have had that and my little safe that I have in my house. I would have had that on one hand and just swimming with one hand.
You would take your safe.
Yeah, I would take my safe with me.
Let me tell you, the safe probably would have been okay.
Safe got a handle on it.
Let me tell you, the safe would have been okay. Because the safe is like a KitchenAid mixer.
With me because it's important stuff in the safe.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You need your safe.
That's why I said I got my safe, and I'm gonna be swimming Sire right here. I'm swimming one hand.
Your safe and your dog.
Safe and my dog. Yeah. Then I would have called the kids when I got to land. Like everybody. Well,
I sincerely hope that they have enough mental health professionals. And here's the problem. All therapists are overwhelmed because of the pandemic. I don't know how all this trauma is going to be treated for these children.
Sure, we need to get on that. That might be charging like 4 times the amount. You want to take a trip? One thing I do is get some shots.
You would have to go there. Now, you know, there are crisis intervention therapists. I can't handle seeing cows in trees because I'm a cow lover.
Baby, we won't see no more cows in trees.
Okay, because I can't even handle. Okay, and kids crying, their dog is missing, their cat is missing.
Okay, I might break down again when they start crying about the dog.
And need more time off.
Need more time off.
Because the D, you wasn't even fit to do the radio show last week.
Sorry, I apologize.
You'd have been on here crying. The viewers and listeners would have been crying. It was going to be a situation.
It would have been a situation. I'm sorry, everybody.
All right, let's get to the question.
Oh, no, we ain't got that much time for our question today. Come on, tap.
We're only 6 minutes late, and this is a short question. Question of the day. I think I've met my soulmate. The problem is I'm already married to someone else. Do I stay or do I go? Now, here's the thing. Before we get into this,
It's
okay,
a song.
because I know that
it
could be a jam. It could be a jam. I want, because I know that people are thinking this is foul, and whoever these people are who find themselves in this position, they're foul. Let's take a moment to establish a level of empathy, okay? Because you cannot help anyone or offer guidance or support to anyone without first being able to empathize with them. So this is what I want everyone to do. Put yourself in this mind space, all right? For those of you who are married to your soulmate, I want you to imagine that instead of being married to your soulmate, that you married one of your exes that you went out with before you met your current spouse, who is your soulmate. Imagine you was married to one of those fools and then met your husband. See, now this question is a little bit more serious. Now, Stacy D, your husband, is your husband your soulmate?
I think so.
Okay. You are jacking this up. That was okay. This is the problem with a live show. I can't even say cut. I'm gonna ask this question again. This is how you need to answer this question.
But y'all know Stacy D keeps it so real. Speaking unspeakable. I mean,
this is true.
I mean, and sometimes you think you want something until you get it. Then after you get it, you be like, maybe I didn't really want that much.
I'm gonna have to start sending you a script for this show. This is not what you were supposed to say. Any other time, Stacy D, you would be like,
I love my husband. Let me tell you something. I love the mess out of him. You know, that
is he your soulmate, Stacy D? This is where you say yes. Imagine, imagine that you married one of your exes go however far back you need to, prior to meeting your current husband.
I had some good exes. I just wasn't no good.
That is not what you were supposed
to. If people listening to the radio station that know me, they know Stacy D. I had some real good exes.
Okay.
Right then.
Okay. Stacy D, you throwing me way off track today.
Okay.
This is not how you typically sound on the radio. Now, I need you to be sounding like Stacy D when you talking about your husband like 2-3 weeks ago, okay? Because I'm trying to help our listeners to empathize so that they don't think that people in this position are foul. For everybody out there who you think that you feel like you're married to your soulmate, imagine that you not accidentally married somebody else, but imagine that you married somebody else and then you met your soulmate who you were married to. Then you can understand where this question is coming from. All right. So let's start by, let's address those people in this position who can actually get out of their marriage. Okay. Let's start with
everybody can get out their marriage.
No. Everybody can't get out their marriage. Everybody cannot get out of their marriage. Hold on. Let's talk about who can. Okay. This is really a little complicated. Those who have been married, I did a breakdown. Those who have been married a short amount of time and have no kids, there's no kids a part of this relationship, y'all can go ahead and start hiring attorneys and break the news to your wife or husband that you met your soulmate. What?
I said, I divorced with kids.
Hold on, D. Hold on now. I need you to think about that for a minute. We're talking about, for those of you who, there's no kids involved, you done met
There's
your soulmate.
there's not a lot of ties. There's not a lot of ties.
Go ahead and take your exit. Just sit down with your spouse and say, listen, I'm in love with somebody else.
Listen, could you tell your, now I know that's a song. I've never seen, that's a song too. I'm in love with somebody.
Yes. There's a million songs about that.
You bring up all the songs. See, I can't play them because last time we got in trouble when I was playing them, but okay. But
okay. So there are those who can take it.
How about if you say, don't say you're in love with somebody else, just like, can we take a break so you can try out the soulmate to see if the soulmate's
no.
And if
that's
soulmate
not right.
that good,
no, D.
Well, you already messed up because you've been having your mind on other people. So you already messed up.
But to say let's take a break when you know that you just want to run off into the horizon with your soulmate and never look back. Don't leave a fool hanging thinking you coming back. If the D has rolled out, if this was the D, if the D has rolled out, the D done rolled out. Like whoever the current husband is, they would need to go on and move on. For those of you out there who are in this position, I bet the soulmate. Okay. Okay. Now, here's another category, another group of people who can take their ex is those who have actually just fallen out of love with their spouse. And there are no children.
Falling out of love.
Once again, what?
I just love you. There's no way for me to fall out of love because I just love you. See?
Well, for Stacy D. Now, there are people who are like, I see people in therapy who hate each other. They like, I hate being married.
Does it really make you feel like maybe you guys really didn't never love each other?
Well, people change.
Sometimes it was
the person that you are married to today might be totally different from the person who you married 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago. Okay,
that might be that.
So many people wake up and they look at the person next to them and they like, who the hell is this? I don't even know this damn fool. This is not who I married. They realize that they are essentially sleeping in the bed with a stranger because they've become so disconnected.
Sleeping with the enemy, that's a song too. I'm just really on the song today.
Well, it starts with sleeping with a stranger, and then after a while, it becomes sleeping with the enemy. Except for those who, in this process, meet their soulmate, then they get to choke up the deuces and roll out. I don't care
who I'm sleeping with because I'm burning out anyway. I'm going to the soulmate.
Going to the soulmate.
What is what's a soulmate? Give us a definition of a soulmate.
Oh, we probably should. Man, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Your soulmate, this is my definition. So those of you watching or listening.
Let me look up what Webster says.
See what Webster says. Here's JP's definition. That is the person who you know that y'all's hearts are connected in a way that is the person that you are truly supposed to spend the rest of your life with, that you cannot imagine life without that person. Like, you love them deep down in your soul. In your soul, Stacy. Is that what Webster said? What did Webster say?
Webster say a person ideally suited to another as a close friend or romantic person.
That doesn't sound as intense as what I just did.
Sure did.
We're going to go with my definition, okay? Because it's much more intense, all right? And if you talking about rolling out on your spouse, who you may also love, we really need to do a show on, is it possible to love and be in love with two people or more at the same time?
I believe so.
I believe so too. All right. Now, so for those who have fallen out of love with their spouse, and it's obvious, this is another group of people. For those of you who have fallen out of love with your spouse and it's obvious to the children that it's a loveless marriage, you all might want to take an exit also, because staying in a loveless marriage allows your kids, they grow up thinking that that's normal and that love is something that doesn't necessarily have to exist in a marriage, which can result in them marrying people who they perhaps should not marry. And then they find their soulmate and they like, I didn't even know love could be like this. I thought it's going to be like my mom and my daddy. And now I got to leave my husband or my wife. So if it's a loveless marriage, I don't think that it's healthy for kids to grow up exposed to that. And loveless marriages go from being passively, quietly loveless to becoming more and more toxic. And that can be very unhealthy for kids to be exposed to. If you don't want your kids to end up in that type of a marriage, then don't have them grow up exposed to that. Okay. Now, those are the people who can take an exit. Unfortunately, my list of people who can take an exit is much shorter than my list of people who I do not think it's a good idea for them to take an exit. So let's take a look at those people. If you and your spouse have kids, exiting really should not perhaps be an option to you just yet. If the marriage is not an unhealthy depiction of marriage, it's not toxic. Okay, so your little darlings are not growing up in a household with an unhealthy depiction of marriage. I'm not sure that it is a good idea to leave because you have met your soulmate. And here's the reason why. I want everyone to remember that when we choose to have kids, we're choosing to put them first in all things. All right. And why should your kids suffer through living apart from their other parent because you have fallen in love with somebody else? It's not fair to the kids. All right. And so those of you who have kids and you have met someone, you thought your current spouse was your soulmate, you met somebody else and you like, this is love on a whole nother level that I didn't even know existed. But my kids, they love their mom or they love their dad, and I don't want to do that to them. Here's the thing. Kids grow up and move out. So there you go. If that person is truly your soulmate, they will still be your soulmate when your kids turn 18 and move out. And now I know you might be in a rush on their 18th birthday. You greeting them with a cake and a suitcase because you're trying to get up out of there too. You usher the kids off to college and roll it out to be with the soulmate. But if that person is truly your soulmate, they are not going to be married to somebody else when you are done raising your children. And so I know a lot of people will not agree with that, but I just want, if you put yourself in the mindset of my kids come first, because every single thing we do as parents is supposed to be filtered through a lens of how will this affect my children? And when you think about a child's love for their parent, I can't imagine when I was a kid being separated from my mother because of some grown folk love mess. That ain't right. Like, why? No. Come on, grown people, pull it together. Do not ruin your kid's childhood because you fell in love with somebody else and you just want to be a selfish ingrate and run off, into the sunset with your new love. Okay. Now, if your current marriage is volatile or abusive, toxic, unhealthy, then, well, you need to leave anyway. With or without a soulmate hanging in the shadows. All right. Because as I said before, kids are definitely not supposed to be growing up in abusive homes. Kids are not supposed to grow up believing that it is normal for mommy to punch daddy in the face and daddy to punch mommy in the face. This is not good. Okay, so it shouldn't take a soulmate coming along, because one of the things I've seen in therapies is people will stay in their unhealthy marriage until they meet someone else because they have a fear of being alone, and they allow their children to continue to be exposed to domestic violence because they ain't found a replacement yet. And that's foul. And no, don't do that to your kids. All right. Next group of people who should probably take an exit is if you have met your soulmate and you are a cheater who is determined to have an affair with your side piece soulmate. That's what they call side piece soulmate. Then you need to take an exit. Okay, because I'm thinking about people who can refrain and control themselves and like, listen, my kids are in love with their parent and I can't do that to them, and we just gonna have to wait until my kids go. But for those people who are like, okay, well, listen, you my soulmate, we gonna hook up and screw, we gonna do what we do. No, don't do that, because kids end up picking up on that. Parents always think that their kids do not know that they are engaged in an extramarital affair. This is not true. The kids know. In fact, I have seen families who they never found out that the kids knew. In fact,
very smart. They're very.
I have seen families where the kids told me that one of the parents was having an affair and the other parent didn't find out.
Oh, wow.
And we are sitting in family therapy session. The kid knows that cheating's going on. I know that cheating's going on. I can't betray the kid's confidentiality. And so we sitting there and like one of the spouse is acting like they're not cheating on the other one, and the other one is oblivious to it. And that spouse thinks, well, my kid does not know that I'm having an affair. Do not underestimate children. Kids are smart.
Oh, and they pick up on changes sometimes because that's all they have to do. They don't have to go to work or do nothing like that. They just look at the things on how things are going. They know.
They notice, especially teenagers. If you think you're gonna cheat and a teenager ain't gonna notice something, you got nothing coming.
And cheaters, y'all need to be careful, because if the other spouse may not be cheating and just so in love, because once again, this spouse, you might be the spouse's soulmate, but that spouse, you might not be their soulmate. So when they find out if you're the cheating soulmate, that's how sometimes we get the homicide and the murder, the homicide and the suicide.
True. And the thing about cheating is it's going to end up blowing up in the family's face anyway. If that's the case, it would be better for you to just go be with your soulmate. Gonna leave, because everything's gonna blow up in everybody's face, including the kids anyway. Now, here's the catch for those who are cheaters and are like, I'm gonna screw my soulmate behind my spouse's back. I think that you need to leave, but that don't mean you take those kids with you. If the kids want to stay with their parent, they should be able to do so. You don't get to fall in love with somebody else and be cheating and then tell the kids, okay, we all rolling out to live with my soulmate, because the kids are like, who the hell? I ain't gonna, what? You ain't take me away from my daddy. You ain't take me away from my mama. Like, they have a right. Like, no, just because you have turned your life and your world upside down, Why does mine have to be turned upside down? And the other thing to think about is it really does turn kids' lives upside down. They're like, okay, so I'm supposed to leave here where I'm comfortable with my other parent, live with you and some person who I don't know.
And then how do you think that the child is really gonna be able to respect you tore up my house? You was disrespectful to my mother. You was disrespectful to my father.
Right.
It's too many gray lines, foggy lines. Yes.
Yes. It totally disrupts their world. They lose their parent, they lose their neighborhood friends. They have to go to a new school. They up in the house with some strange person that is mama or daddy's soulmate. No, don't do that.
And then the soulmate probably don't even like me because they don't probably want to be bothered with no kids anyway. Hey, no, I liked it when we had it on the side. This is really too much.
You done showed up with your kids? Sometimes the soulmate ends up not really being a soulmate.
And that's what it said in Webster too. It said sometimes soulmates can be so enmeshed that it's better not to even deal with it. To keep it on a friend basis. Yeah. I went further into it. I was looking at
too intense.
Too intense. Soulmates can be too intense. Yes.
Okay. Now, see, that was a good piece of information, Stacy D. If the other parent is a fully capable parent, don't drag your kids with you while you go run off into the sunset with your soulmate. Now, if the other parent is not a healthy parent and you worry about the safety of your kids, if they're an abusive parent or something like that, then okay, when you run off with your soulmate, you probably need to take your kids with you. But I don't suggest moving in with your soulmate with your kids. That's
your own place. Get your
own damn place. That's too much for the kids. They like, first thing, you took me away from my other parent, even though they're crazy and it wasn't safe for me to be with them, but still. And now I'm in a new school, in a new neighborhood, and living with a stranger. No. Get your own crib. And then you and the soulmate, if they're truly your soulmate, y'all gonna be okay as you build on that relationship.
Yes.
So that's the other thing.
Still, a bird in the hand beats two in the bush.
Go ahead and break that down, Stacy D.
You are in a good relationship with your mate. Stay in that relationship, cultivate that relationship, because there's always problems in every relationship, even friendship relationships. There's always problems. But if you have a good marriage and you guys have some good foundation, you're building, don't go mess with them two birds in the bush, because everything that glitter is not gold.
Well, and I think that's what it is. It gets complicated when people think somebody is their soulmate and the person is not. All right. So that's the answer to the question. Are we good with this, Stacy D?
What was the answer to the question, JP?
Well, I talked about some people can leave and some people cannot. I broke it down. Who can leave? I broke down who can leave and who can't.
Who can't go? Okay, that's the question. Say some people can go and some people can't go.
Some people are in a position to run off into the sunset with their soulmate. Other people need to think about how it's going to affect their children. All right. I think we're good for today.
I think so too.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And remember, worry about nothing.
And be on your knees and pray about everything.
Thank you and God bless.